How is it going, guys? Welcome to the first episode of my Curtis Helldiver video build. This kit is manufactured from Cyber Hobby and it is in 1:72 scale. It is a very detailed for the scale, but there are a few weak places, as I will explain later. Let's start building. Throughout the build, I will use Mr. Cement S or Mr. Cement Deluxe, depending on how much time for adjustments and how much strength I need. Everything is rather well detailed, but there are a few things that I dislike about the kit. Number one being the instructions. They give you no clue about how to paint the interior, stuff is mislabeled, and generally they are hard to figure out. While watching the assembly, tell me which is your favorite topic regarding the country to manufacture the real machines. You can vote in the upper right corner. If you like my channel and the content I provide, please consider becoming a patron and help me deliver more. Now I won't get you through the tedium of masking greenhouse canopy, but if you want to know how, I have done a tutorial on how to mask canopies. To watch it, check the link in the description below. Initially, I intended to install the canopies in open position, but later I figured out that they are not designed to be positioned in that way, so I decided not to paint them from the inside. kit gives you the option to present the wings in deployed or retracted position. Also, all control surfaces are separate and positionable, which is awesome. To prepare everything for the painting stages, I will attach some details on sticks using Blu Tack or however this product is called in your country. Other details I will superglue to toothpicks. For priming, I will use Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black diluted with Mr. Leveling Thinner. I decided to try out the zenithal lighting technique, so my next color was white. As you can see, it was not sufficiently diluted. The idea here is to shoot the white from the direction of the light source, creating highlights and shadows at the same time. For the interior color, I will use H58 Interior Green from Mr. Hobby, diluted with Leveling Thinner. The application should be in several light layers so that the previous step can still be visible. enhance the shadows and introduce some dirt, I apply dark green panel line wash. I use long bristle brush because it holds more liquid, but it is still fine enough for the job. After the panel line wash dries, I use Q-tip or makeup sponge to remove the excess wash. When this step is complete, we have better defined details and no more pristine looking paint. The next step is to add more highlights to the rest details and the edges. For the task, we will employ the dry brush technique using mixture of the base color and white. The instrument panel and switchboards we will paint with matte black paint using fine paintbrush. Here we will also apply the dry brushing technique, this time using light grey color. To put more emphasis on the bezels and on the different panels, we will use watercolor pencil. Reference photos showed a few red items on the instrument panel. Red paint was applied with the help of a toothpick. To recreate the radar screen, first I applied a layer of chrome paint, then on top of that a layer of transparent green paint. To add the metal tumblers, I used silver pencil. Same pencil was used to simulate paint worn down to the bare metal. Seat belts were also painted using a toothpick. The belt buckles were first painted in black, then covered with silver pencil. For the gun color, I created a little of graphite powder, then using an old brush, I burnished it down on the guns. In my opinion, this technique gives a realistic sheen and color with just a little effort. The lap belts for the gunner were made of masking tape and then painted and mounted in place. Next up, a layer of flat varnish for everything. Wear was simulated using a silver pencil. To create the life raft, I folded some Tamiya masking tape and then rolled it. I inserted it inside the housing and secured it with CA glue. The headrest was painted with brown paint, then weathered with sand color. To help the adhesion, I scraped off the paint from the contact surfaces. So far, the fit is very good, and I do not expect to have major issues with the assembly of the rest of the model. To attach some details, I also use CA glue, especially when I cannot afford to screw up the paint. The bulkhead in front of the radar equipment is molded together with the fuselage halves, so there was a seam. After some filler, sanding and painting, the seam was no more. I brush painted the instrument panel shroud with flat black. To break the surface, I applied some pastel pencil and blended it with a flat brush. Most of the time I use Mr. Cement S to glue the canopies. Since most of the canopy parts were reluctant to fit properly, I had to force them into submission. This concludes the first episode of our Helldiver build. Subscribe and stay tuned for the second episode where we should conclude the build. As always, thanks for watching and happy modeling!